Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Was good.
Aren't you on the?
And my
Aren't you
second
on
one-
the?
And
like-
welcome back to Club PK.
Are you
the
logged
place
in
where we
to
talk
the
about
account?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Just look at the
the
thing.
secret lives of pastors' kids. Welcome back to another episode. This is the first episode of 2025, and
2025.
Usually people say, you know, this is my year. 2025 is gonna be better than last year, but so far,
Hasn't started out.
It's not great. So
Not a great start.
Let's see
in
what
2025.
happens. Hopefully, it'll get better.
I think one mistake we made is planning to do this at 8 a.m.
It's 9 a.m. to me. I'm good. I've been up.
9 a.m. is still super early. but-
Also, I went to bed at 10:30, so I don't really care about New Year's. I
Right.
mean, it's not really a thing. People just make it up, and I guess I feel like it's a drinking holiday, and I don't drink, so why would I stay up to do that
I think the most surprising part of that sentence is you don't drink.
anymore?
That's what I found shocking.
Well, during the new year, you know.
Right. Right. You don't make it a point to drink New
Exactly.
Year's Eve.
Exactly.
Right,
I don't
right.
force myself just because it's December 31. So yeah.
I was thinking about this last night because I'm in a different, just in a different place. And I texted my friends. I'm just gonna read what I wrote.
You mean a different place in life? You're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It says I've gone from making plans to be out at midnight on New Year's Eve to staying home but making sure I'm awake and doing something fun, to trying to stay awake, to not being able to stay awake, and now I enter into a new phase, making sure I'm asleep well before midnight.
Exactly. Making it a point to go.
I'm going to go to bed earlier
Yeah.
on New Year's Eve now. Like
Yeah.
I
feel
less
like-
I less than don't care about New Year's Eve. It's less
I
than that.
feel like if you want to see the fireworks and stuff, everybody records it anyway, so you can just watch it
You watch it later.
when the sun's up, or when you're actually awake, and it's the same thing. It's fine. So
No, when I was young, I wanted to be part of the live event. Fine.
yeah, but the key
I
word
don't
there was
care.
young.
I don't care anymore. Don't
Yeah,
care.
at all. So yeah,
Speaking of young, our guests today are very young.
yeah, they're tiny.
Our youngest guest so far. They are still in school, and one of them's in college, one of them's in high school for now. About to be in college. It's crazy.
I know.
Yeah. So let's bring them on. So they're John and Julia,
John and Julia.
nephew and niece. Here they come.
Yay!
Welcome, John and Julia. Yay!
Welcome,
Hi.
guys.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, good. How you guys doing? Thanks for doing this early in the morning. Appreciate it.
Okay.
I was just about to say, if we had done this later, maybe John's voice would be higher, but I don't think
No.
so. I think it's just as deep now.
That's just what he sounds like.
Yeah, all the
That's just every
time. Yeah.
So how you guys doing?
I'm okay. I mean, I don't care about New Year's either. I went to bed at like 11 last night.
I was gonna say that. I was hearing what y'all were saying, and like I feel that way now, and I'm young, so I don't know if that's a bad thing but
We didn't even watch
we
the
didn't
ball
even
drop.
watch the ball drop. We just went to
You
sleep.
didn't watch the ball drop, huh?
No.
Yeah, we all went to bed.
Because
So,
why? I'm just like, and I'm at the point in my life, as Paul was talking about points in your life, where if I'm tired, I'm going to bed. Like, I
Right.
don't understand why I still need to make myself stay awake. It makes no sense. So
Yeah.
And then for me, I'm a like mostly self-employed, right? I have a job, but I do a lot of stuff that I'm in charge of. And when you're set up like that, you don't have the option of like just taking days off at random. You know what I'm saying? If something needs to be done, it just needs to be done. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter whatever. So I have stuff to do today.
Mm-hmm.
So last night wasn't a holiday for me. I have to get up in the morning and go. I have work to do. So I can't go till 1 a.m. Or whatever, or even 11. Because here in Central Time, the ball dropping would have been an hour earlier,
Right.
11. But I can't be up all night because I got to be up in the morning. I got stuff to do.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I got a meeting in a couple of hours. It's really important. I got to be awake for and stuff. So it's like,
But also
prioritize.
Theo is 5, so he's not going to let you sleep.
My son is
right.
5.
You were up anyway.
Yeah, he's gonna be up. He's gonna be up, and he's at the point now where he'll start the night in his own room, but by the time I wake up, he's always in my bed.
That was us too. We do the same thing.
Real.
He's in my bed every morning, so I don't know when he gets into my bed, and most nights I don't know when it happens. I'm asleep and I wake up and he's just there. So there is no, and then when he gets up, he wants stuff, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, can I have a waffle?" And I'm like, "Sure."
You can't make your own waffles yet, kid? Come on.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Get him in the kitchen early.
Yeah, exactly.
Get him on a stool, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you can have a waffle, and now I'm up. I might as well make a pot of coffee. So.
Well, welcome to the show, guys. Obviously, we want to talk to you about just your experience growing up as pastors' kids, and I'm really interested in just how the generations have changed, because Paul and I and your dad obviously have a particular experience, but that took place, decades ago. And so we're interested in how things may have changed, and you may not be aware of the changes because your experience is just your experience, but that's why we wanted to have this conversation with all of us with different perspectives. Welcome viewers to our show. Did we do that?
Yes,
like,
viewers.
share, subscribe.
We never do that. It's actually in our notes, and we still never do it.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. We're bad at this, but it's fun, so we're gonna keep doing it.
Viewers.
Yeah. So we know who you are, obviously, but tell our viewers who you are, but also like why you're here. Why are we talking to you in this particular kind of format? Like, who are your parents and that kind of stuff?
So we are John and Julia Nixon, y'all's niece and nephew. And then their brother is also named John Nixon. I'm the third, and he's a pastor. For my whole life, he's pastored churches, but now he just moved to conference position. I think it's called ministerial director over the
Big
conference.
promotion.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see the shift in his work. Now he's not gone to prayer meetings and things like that.
He is gone though.
He's gone,
but not
he's
not to prayer meetings.
Right.
He's like in the office
Right.
now, which is weird to say.
It is weird to say, but it feels like he's been around more than he has as a kid. And for us, it felt like he was very present as a dad. So it's not like he was gone all the time. He really made an effort to put us first and schedule everything around us. So it was great growing up. And then we're 2.5 years apart, so very close. So our years growing up have been very good.
That's nice to hear.
So
So I know you guys are, obviously you just said it, John, that you guys are very close to each other, which is one of the things that I always appreciate about our larger family. Everybody kind of tends to like each other, you know what I mean? So then siblings get along and not a lot of rivalry. There's always disagreements. We're human beings, but siblings tend to get along and tend to be like besties and stuff like that. And that's very much you guys' experience. So I wonder if you guys talk about how your experience or the way you perceive something is different from each other, or do you tend to see things similarly when something happens, like, an experience in church or an experience with adult or whatever it is? Are you guys like, man, they treated us like whatever, and then, or is it more like one of you is like, I like that lady, and I was like, I'm not really feeling her?
Name names.
No, no.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if I think someone's annoying, he does too. Like it's very universal because I mean they're just doing annoying stuff. Like it's not like we're like I haven't had an experience yet where like somebody at church is treating me differently than him because like I'm a girl or something. That hasn't happened yet. I hope it never does. I mean, it probably won't because he's not a pastor.
I was about to say if it hasn't happened yet, it's probably not going to happen. And that's interesting that you say that because my entire childhood was being treated differently because I was a girl. So
well, actually,
I was gonna say there actually have been a couple times where
that's not true. I lied.
There have been a couple of times, but most of the time we both don't like the person.
Yeah, but it's not always like because I'm a girl. But there was this in like a certain church. It was where like people would be like, "Oh, why isn't she talking to me? Why won't she say hi?" It's because I was shy and like, I don't want to talk to you. And so mom would always tell me, "You don't have to talk to anybody." And I was like, "Okay." So I wouldn't talk to anybody. But Buddy would be over there. I'm sorry, John would be over there, being all like, talk to everybody. I'm not like that. So they would be like, "Why isn't she talking to me?" And everyone would think like I don't like them and stuff. Like, no,
exactly.
I don't want to talk to you. But like, I don't think it's been like that difference with like girl and boy. It's been like ambivert,
just personality types.
Yeah.
But I also don't like people that don't treat her the same as me.
Right.
So there have been people that I don't like.
them.
So we still get treated differently.
Yeah.
But I won't like the person because they're not treating her in the same way that they might treat me, just because of that personality difference.
That's one of the things that's interesting is you guys as person, especially when you were younger, when you were littler kids. You guys' personalities are so very different. So like, you know, for our viewers, and I think we can use nicknames, right? We're family here, so
we can.
Okay.
Feel free to call. You know, they call each other buddy. So you know, when Julie says buddy, she's talking about John. When John says buddy, he's talking about Julia. When I say TJ, I'm talking about John. When I say Juju, we're gonna call each other what we call each other, right? Okay. So anyway, so when they were younger, TJ was probably the most outgoing child I've ever seen. Like John, like he wanted to talk to. He was like his dad. So their dad is the most extroverted person I've ever met in my life. Well, maybe second to my mom.
Other than mom, yeah.
Such an extrovert. He's just such an extrovert, and one of the things that makes him really well suited for his work is just wanting to go and talk to people. Right? He just wants to go talk to people and get to know them, and he remembers everybody's names. Like to this day, if I see somebody who I should recognize, who I know my brother knows, I'll text him. I'll be like, "Hey, who's this person?" And he'll text me just like a rap sheet, like the whole. He'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's this person's cousin. We met them at whatever." And like even now he remembers all that kind of stuff. So TJ was like that. He was always in people's face, like people he didn't know. We'd be at the store and he'd be walking up to strangers talking about, "Hey, I'm getting a new truck," and all this. Like, but one time he hurt his foot. He was like 4. He hurt his foot. We were at somebody's house for like Sabbath dinner. He went and took his shoe and sock off and showed the person his foot where he had hurt his foot. And I'm like, "John, put your shoes back."
That's crazy.
What are you doing? So that was just TJ, just outgoing, right? And Julie wasn't like that. Julie was more to herself. She was more of an introvert, really, really cool and down to earth around the people that she knew and liked, but she wasn't out there trying to meet new people for real, right? So again, just personality difference. And we saw a shift when Julia went to Deja, the school that she went to, and they did a lot of performances and stuff like that. That she got up front and started like acting in plays and singing solos. We're like, who is this person?
Exactly.
But I think it's still, and then now she's in that space too. We're gonna talk about that in a little while too, in terms of what you guys are pursuing, because that's interesting to me. But again, still not. I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jude. Still not just out there just trying to meet random people. They're not just going to talk to strangers and stuff like that. Yeah, that's just a personality thing.
I don't make friends unless I have to.
I'm
not trying to be mean. Like that's just the reality. The only reason I have so many new friends is because I changed schools. If I had
you had to.
Yeah, exactly. I had to because I didn't have anybody. But now, like, I'm not gonna make any new friends for like the rest of the year probably.
But what does that even look like when you're making new friends? Are you pursuing relationships, or are they walking up to you and you're getting to decide if you want to continue that or not?
I think I made one friend at my school where I talked to him first. And I was just talking about the weather. I was like, "Oh, it's hot in here, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, it kind of is." And then he kept talking. I was like, "Yeah." He kept talking and kept talking and kept talking. I was like, "Oh." But like it worked out, you know?
Right.
Yeah, most of the time they just come to me. like one of my friends came to me and she was like, I was wearing like an Avatar The Last Airbender shirt. And she came up to me and she was like, oh my gosh, I love your shirt. I was like, oh, thank you. I love Avatar. Do you like Avatar? Then she just started like, wow, like she was just yapping. And I was like, perfect. And I was like, keep going, keep going. So yeah, most of the time it's just like, not coincidence, but it just happens. I don't really do
Well, but I actually asked that question because I grew up an introvert. Not I grew up an introvert. I am an introvert. And I don't think there's any friendships that I have right now that I started. I don't think there's a single one. It's always started by somebody else. Excuse me. And then I feel like I'm in the position where I get to decide if this is someone I want to keep talking to or not. And it feels very natural. It feels great that way. If I had to make my own friends, I probably wouldn't have any friends because I also just like being alone. So
Yeah.
like I'm good. And also we talked about this a couple episodes ago, maybe. Growing up, we were so close to our cousins and our siblings and our family that they were our friends. So I really didn't feel like I needed anybody on the outside. I'm glad that I have a team like around me now. But growing up, I was like, I don't need any of those people. Why would I intentionally go talk to anybody? It didn't make any sense to me. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know.
So John, are you still like that? Are you still out here kind of just meeting everybody and talking to everybody and very extroverted, or has that calmed down a little bit?
It's calmed down a lot.
Oh, really?
A lot. Like I call myself an ambivert, but that 50% introvert is a lot stronger now than it was when I was a kid. Because I got when I was that extroverted, I got treated differently, and I kind of ended up just kind of changing myself over time. And I don't regret that. I'm not like upset about that or anything like that, but I'm definitely a lot different from how I was a kid, just of circumstances. Even COVID too. That quarantine period, that changed me a lot. Like I came out of that way more mellow, toned down than I ever was. So I love the person I am now, but it's a huge change, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly who I am since that change has been so drastic over time. Like I feel like I'm a whole nother person.
You said when you were kind of more outgoing, younger, you got treated differently. What do you mean by that? Differently than what?
Like, so when we moved, so we lived in 3 places. Well, 4. Me 4, but you 4 too. South Carolina, North Carolina, Atlanta, and then Maryland, which is where we are now. And our move from North Carolina to Atlanta, at my school, it was harder for me to make friends. I've never had an issue making friends, but I found myself being it felt like I was trying too much. And I remember feeling that way. I remember literally going to everybody, just trying to make friends.
Yeah, and I feel like that was like a switch between us, because at Deja, I had no trouble making friends. I had friends immediately easily. And he was struggling so much. I was like, why? Because I'm not outgoing. So like, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I think it was my third grade is when we moved. And that year, I remember just it being, at least the beginning, that first semester of that year, after break, I was fine. But for some reason, it was hard for me to make friends. People thought I was really annoying, just too loud, too kind of just So I remember that year I ended up I remember that year I ended up trying to tone down a little bit, and it just kind of progressed more and more to the person I am now. But it's interesting.
Did you guys, when you were going to the same school, find that being a PK in that school, did you notice any differences in how you guys were treated versus how your peers were treated at all? Or did you just feel like you were just like everybody else?
Nah, definitely. And our mom taught there.
So we were like completely set apart.
Yeah.
It was more of mom. I feel like it was more of mom teaching there than dad being the pastor, because this was only at Deja because he was like the church pastor.
Right.
At in middle school, we went to Spencerville, and him for high school a little bit. Spencerville, they didn't really know dad because he wasn't like the pastor of Spencerville Church. I mean, that wasn't even our conference.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't really affect us. But at Deja, every time we got in trouble, like they would threaten to tell dad. And I'd be like, okay. Like,
What do you think he was gonna do?
yeah.
Right. I'm like, come on.
And it wasn't even like something really bad. Like, I don't know. They're just always like, I'm going to tell your dad. I'm like, what, do you think I'm scared of him? Like, I don't understand. And a lot of the time too, oh my goodness, this happens like at every school. My mom teaches that every time someone doesn't like their class, they're like, oh, I don't like your mom's class. Sorry, Julia. I'm like,
Oh my
I don't care. That doesn't affect me. Like, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, but I don't like your mom's class. I'm like, I don't care,
Or
bro.
worse,
Like, you don't like to learn. Okay.
if they work with me in class, they always ask me what
Yes,
happened
they
in
always
class.
ask us what happened in class.
I'm like, come on. They ask me for homework,
Like, just pay attention.
for when the test is. I'm like, stop.
That's interesting. I never had any of that. My mom
Ridiculous.
taught me in elementary school, but I was home. It was a homeschool year.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't occur to me that your peers would be asking you about stuff that your mom was supposed to be teaching them.
Yeah.
Yes.
They asked me to like talk for them on their behalf.
Yes,
Like, it was
and-
crazy.
Yes, and it
So
Wow.
annoying.
even happened when mom did not teach at my school anymore. When I was at TA and she was at TAPS, my teacher's son. So my science teacher's son was taught by mom, and he would come into the classroom because we had 8th period with him. He would come into the classroom and like sit in there because their school ended earlier than ours. And so I'd see him and he'd be like, yo, can you ask your mom to change my grade? And I'd be like, yeah, if you tell your dad to give me extra credit. He'd be like,
Right.
like no,
Right.
what?
Even
I
exchange.
asked him.
Say it. Even exchange.
Exactly.
Just work something out.
Why are you
Scratch my
still
back, I'll
asking
scratch
that?
yours.
Right.
And he was like a bad student, like, bro, he just didn't do his work. Like, ridiculous stuff.
That's funny.
That's funny. But I'm with you, Claire. I'd never considered, because we had a similar situation in that our mom was always at the school we were attending, but I've never had that situation. I've never had people come up to me and ask for favors from mom. Then again, now I'm thinking about it. When mom was at the school we were at, it was always elementary school. It was never as high as middle school or high school.
Right.
Mom was an elementary school teacher when we were growing up. So 2nd and 3rd graders don't care probably.
No,
Whereas middle schoolers and high schoolers are more likely to be like, oh, I'm interested in my grades and that kind of thing. So
Exactly.
but you feel like you probably got more effects from your mom being the teacher than you got from your dad being the pastor?
Definitely at school.
Mhm.
But for my dad being the pastor, even at school, I remember I got in trouble with the principal and I really hadn't done anything. So she really was pressing me, trying to get me to admit something I did that I never did. So I told her I didn't do it. She wanted me to sign a referral and stuff saying I did whatever. I was like, I didn't do anything.
Nah.
She's like, all right, I'm going to tell your dad. I'm going to have him do this, that. I'm like, what is that going to do? I'm still not signing it. So I did it. And then I didn't get in trouble. But like stuff like that happen all the time where people are threatening, hey,
Mhm.
I know your dad, so this is going to happen.
it's ridiculous.
But the fact that they threatened you proves they don't know him, because that's not even
That's
the type of
right.
guy he
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like that at all.
At
It's
all.
always just, I'm gonna tell your dad.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
It's not
Like, guys.
or you're a pastor's kid. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to tell your dad. And it's
And
like,
then I would
come
always
on.
say, they would always say, as a pastor's kid, you shouldn't be doing this. And I would say, as a kid, I shouldn't be doing that. Like,
yeah, why?
Just
Right.
as a
Why are you
child.
distinguishing me?
yeah.
Exactly.
So that's another thing I think about your generation, is that I feel like you guys are way more aware of things than
Mhm.
I was aware of. Like the fact that you guys know this early, and you've known for a long time what your personality type is. You know what your love languages are. I didn't learn any of that stuff until like towards the end of college.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
And it's
I
just
was-
interesting to me.
I was a graduate. I remember when I learned. I learned the first time I got engaged. They made us take these
One of those
personality
tests.
tests for
Mhm.
compatibility. I was 21, 22. So I had graduated and stuff like that. So yeah, there's no way I would have been, Julia's you're in 12th grade, right, Ju?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no way I was in high school knowing what my personality type was. I mean, it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah. I think part of that is credit to y'all's generation, though, because since y'all kind of saw that switch into that social media technology age, I think y'all ended up learning a whole lot more things that y'all could do.
Yeah.
And it ended up getting passed down to us
Yeah.
just because that's what y'all were trying at the time. Like I remember dad always telling me something just new that he learned just off of being online or something like that, or so and then they have their own relationship podcasts and stuff like that. So I mean, they were teaching us this stuff from when we were little.
Yeah, because I didn't learn my love language myself. Mom made us do it as an assignment in class.
Exactly.
So the whole class did the love language, and mom would take those and like apply it. It's like the kids that had words of affirmation, she'd tell them all the time, good job, you're a great student. The physical touch, she'd give them hugs all the time. Quality time, I don't know what she did for quality time, but
Tag class.
I don't know. Teacher do after class.
For quality time.
Yeah, I don't know.
You get an extra hour from me at the school.
Right. But yeah, I learned it from her class, and then I just retake it every so often. I think I retook it like a year ago.
Yeah.
Retaking it is interesting because I do it too. So I do what you just described. Of course, I teach college, but I do what you just described, Julia. I do a number of personality tests leading into an assignment in my freshman Comp 1 class. I think it's fall semester. Yeah. So, but I retake. I typically do, whenever I'm doing a project, I typically do the project before I assign it, just to make sure it works. Even if it's something I've assigned before, I'll just do it again. So I retake a personality test every fall, and it's really interesting. It's almost like a longitudinal study on yourself, and you kind of see your results from one year to the next. And John was talking about how his introverted levels have gone up and extroverted levels have gone down. It kind of got more in the middle, been an ambivert. Then I've noticed that in myself. My extrovert levels were like, it was like 70-30 extrovert like 10 years ago. I took it again like 2 months ago, and it was like 51-49. It was like very much ambivert.
That's
very
exactly
much
the same.
like dead center. Almost.
Yeah, that's exactly the same switch for me.
Yeah, so it's like it's really interesting to see yourself develop and grow over time if you're using these results, and then especially if you're kind of thinking about it open-mindedly, right? As opposed, so instead of thinking, I know who I am, you use these to help you understand who you are, and then you kind of reflect on your own choices and your own decisions. Oh, I see why I did that, and let me make adjustments going forward. You know what I mean? So I think that's it's good stuff. But of course, that's from your mom being a great teacher, not from your dad being a pastor.
Yeah.
But
so.
yeah.
Are there any challenges other than the ones you described of people threatening you in school, which is crazy for me to even say?
The threats are crazy.
Anyway.
No, the threats are crazy.
Yeah.
Let's
Are
say
there any
that.
other challenges that you felt as a result of being a PK, do you think, growing up?
Everyone always expected us to be like angels. And when we would do something that wasn't even that bad, like run in the church,
Right.
they go crazy. Like there was this one lady, I was running in church with my friend, like because I just was, I don't know, we were trying to run.
You were a child.
Yeah. And so then they were like, oh no, and they went and told dad, and dad was like, they're kids. And then the person was just like, oh, and just left. I was like, yeah, like bro, why are you?
What's the problem?
Who cares if I run in the sanctuary? Like it's not that serious.
Exactly.
This is
get me.
I think we need more young guests because you guys are telling way more stories about how church people are bugging out because you guys are pastors' kids than our previous guests. Our previous guests are, everybody's older and they're trying to remember how things were, and they're like, "Oh, I think it wasn't that bad," and their impressions are a little bit more general. But you guys are more specific, probably because you're closer to it. Just this idea, this constant
happened yesterday.
Yeah.
It literally just happened.
What happened yesterday? What's the newest one?
The newest one.
So I have a crazy newest one. You can go first.
Okay. So this wasn't literally yesterday, but this was this semester or my freshman year.
Okay, so now just for clarity, just everybody knows John's in college now. So at this point, and his dad isn't in our state, our city, our region of the country. So he's in Maryland. John goes to school in Alabama. All right, go ahead, John.
So I go to Oakwood, and my dad went to Oakwood. Y'all went to Oakwood.
I teach there now.
Granddaddy, you teach there. So our family is just known there. So
Oakwoodites.
for me, if sometimes it feels like there's from older people who are at Oakwood, like teachers and whatever, it feels like there's an expectation for me to do better than other people. Anyway, at church, there was this elder who would always say hi to me, always say what's up, super cool guy. And I remember getting my ears pierced.
Oh, Lord.
Came back to church. He looked at me like I was like spawn of the devil. Like, he said, disgusting. I was like, whoa. You doesn't get out of me anymore. It's insane.
Did he say anything, or was it just
He didn't
an
say
attitude?
anything.
He just
Like,
stopped
I went
speaking
up
to
to
you.
him to say, I'm like, what's up? Just curved me, walked away.
Wow.
He didn't say anything.
Didn't say
Wow.
anything. Just looked at my
That's
ears and
ridiculous.
walked away. Looked at my ears and walked away.
That's
And my hair wasn't
ridiculous.
as long as it is now. So it's probably up here. So you could see my earrings. And he just immediately saw him. Boom, gone.
This is at Oakwood Church.
At Oakwood Church.
Why
And
does
this is-
Julie have such a
and this is
chokehold on
2024.
Like that? I don't
I
understand.
don't know. It's not that
I
It's
mean,
not
serious.
that serious. I don't get it. It's not
But for
that
you to
serious.
mistreat somebody because
Seriously.
of it is wild to me.
That's
Like
wild.
wild.
Yeah,
It's actually the tiniest thing ever. Like, it actually doesn't matter.
it doesn't
At all.
matter.
Somebody you already know and get along with, though.
Right,
Like, you're gonna
right.
start treating them differently. That is wow. In
It's
2024, you
unfortunate.
guys. 2024.
But that just says, mentalities are passed down. It has nothing to do with
That's
what the
yeah.
year is.
That's
That's
true.
Mentalities like that are going to stay alive because they're taught.
Well,
like,
this is an
explicitly.
older person, so he didn't have to teach it. He'd be the one teaching it, right?
Exactly.
He's
But
an older.
someone
This is
gave
an
it to
older.
him. Someone
be the
gave it
one
to
teaching
him.
it.
So on and so forth.
Yeah,
I'm
he
saying
was
he
older,
he
was
learned it
probably-
when he was a kid. He learned this was normal,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he hasn't grown past that, I guess.
Mm.
Right. So
So he's not free.
Hell no, it's not free.
We're gonna talk about freedom. We're gonna talk about freedom in just a minute. Go ahead, tell your story, Julia, and then we're gonna take a quick commercial break and come back with some more stuff. But go ahead, I want to hear your crazy story, Julia.
My crazy story. I think this was like November or something. It is recently, okay?
Also this year, okay.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
sometime this
last year. Sorry, last year.
Oh, my bad.
January
Sometime
1st.
last year.
right.
Yeah,
So
like a year ago.
yeah, exactly a year ago. So my friend, he's a dude. I can't name names just in case. So he was trying to come over to my house to play Spider-Man 2 because he doesn't have a PS5. I do, so he wanted to play online.
That's
And so I was
unfortunate.
like, okay, yeah, I know it's very
Yes,
unfortunate. So I was like, of course you can play. Like, we both love Spider-Man. Like, I was like, yeah, I'll watch you play. I already beat the game. Like, you can totally come over. So then he asked his parents, and they, oh my goodness, they were like, no, you can't go. And he's like, why? Like, my parents know his parents. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. And they were like, you know, those pastors' kids, she's gonna try to get with you. I was like,
What?
no, like they're not trying to be, they're crazy. They really think that I'm trying to get with their son just because I'm
But what does that mean? Get
What
with?
is that?
Like, what if you were actually interested in him? Who cares?
like
Like,
try to have
what's-
sex with him? Why would I want to
because
do
he
that?
came over to play
He's
Spider-Man.
my friend. Literally, I want to play Spider-Man right there on that TV.
So
And
he
they're like,
so
you know those pastors' kids.
is still
so she thinks because you're a PK, your intentions are automatically nefarious and like,
Yes,
terrible.
yes, she thinks I'm a villain because I'm a pastor. Like, that's the opposite. What? Like, you know those pastors' kids. What are you talking about? I don't understand.
But I
What
will
is the
say-
nonsense we teaching our children? What
And I'm-
nonsense
I'm sick of his parents.
are we teaching our children?
Like, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I will
I
say
want to
though,
know what their experience, because what did they have experiences with pastors'
Right.
kids that like?
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
know.
that a lot of PKs, at least today, are just known for being rebellious in some type of way.
That was true when we were kids too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
not rebellious.
But we're not
No.
like that.
why would I want
So
to
you-
be
but see,
son?
but
Like,
I-
they act like I'm Jezebel.
right.
Mhm.
And I'm like, bro, I'm just a regular child. I just want to play Spider-Man with my friend. I just want to watch a movie with my friend. Like, why can't he come to my house?
Mhm.
And it's been like 5 months since he's been to my house. Like, they just don't let him come over here.
And that's people just having assumptions and presuppositions about an entire population of people.
The generalization is crazy to me.
Yeah.
You can't go over her house because she's a PK. That's nonsense.
Yes, like bro.
Mm.
I don't get it. And it's
Are
not
these
like
black
they don't
people?
know me. Yes, they're black. They're
So
huge.
then I wonder how they would feel if you were like, you know, you can't go over her house because she's a black girl. Or, you know,
Exactly.
how is
And
that different?
it's not like they don't know me. Like his dad, when I was when he taught at my high school, he came to me begging me to run for president for our class because
Oh,
he was
wow.
like, our class president is bad. Please run, please run. And I was like, okay. So like, how are you gonna beg me to run because you know I'm a good student and a good leader, but then you won't let your son come to my house?
Right. Because you're gonna try and have sex with him.
Exactly. I don't even, bro. I'm not like that. I don't participate in those activities.
There's a saying from one of my professor's parents. This is way too much background information, but she said race. Basically, she was saying racism, and of course, we're talking about black people and black people, so this isn't really racism, but the idea is relevant. Racism looks different in the North and the South, right? So they said in the South, we don't care how close you get, just don't get too high. In the North, we don't care how high you get, just don't get too close. So like in the North, for example, you might vote for a black person, but you're not gonna have black people over your house. In the South, you might be friends with a black person, but you're not voting for like you're not putting them in positions of leadership. You know what I'm saying? So like that's just kind of a different. So that kind of reminded me of what you just said. You like this guy's like, oh, you'd be a good leader, but you can't be friends with my son. Like you know what I'm saying? That's a Northern mentality in some ways. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how high you get. Go ahead and be in charge of stuff. I'm not trying to like socialize with you. Like, you know.
It's ridiculous.
That's terrible.
That's crazy. Those are crazy stories, and I'm so glad you told us them, and we're gonna have you on again because these are really interesting experiences that you guys have. Let's take a really quick commercial break. We're not leaving yet. Don't leave. Really quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and keep our conversation going. Happy New Year, Claire. Can you believe it's 2025 already?
That's crazy. We're almost at 2030. What resolutions have you made this year?
I've resolved to exercise more.
Yeah, me too, but I make that resolution every year. It's really, really hard to stay consistent.
Not this year.
Why not?
Because of Small Fist in the Clouds MMA Studio.
Small Fist in the Clouds MMA Studio? What is that?
It's the first Christian-themed MMA training facility in the Western Hemisphere. You learn all the same techniques, but your opponents are not flesh and blood, but are principalities.
Okay, so I'll learn how to roundhouse kick Wrath?
Yeah, and you'll even be taught how to back mount escape Gluttony.
But what about Envy, though?
The low jab kick combo works perfectly.
Wow, so I'll get my physical workout, but I'll get my spiritual workout too.
That's right. Just mention Club PK near the ladder stained with Jacob's blood, and you'll be eligible to receive 33% off your first 8 visits to the studio. On your 9th visit, one of their specially trained MMA fighters will touch your right hip and give you his blessing.
That's an amazing deal. So just to recap, I mentioned Club PK near the ladder stained with Jacob's blood, and I'll be eligible to receive 33% off my first 8 visits to the studio. And on my 9th visit, one of their specially trained MMA fighters will touch my right hip and give me his blessing. Small Fist in the Clouds MMA Studio, preparing you for cosmic warfare.
All right.
That's so stupid.
That's hilarious.
Always grateful to our sponsors. You know, they have these really particular niche services they provide. If you want to learn how to deal with your principalities in your life, hit them up.
Did it say roundhouse kick Gluttony? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Why is it only in the Western Hemisphere? What?
That's not our choice. It's their choice.
I'm just wondering. I didn't build it. We just found them.
Yeah.
Let me know.
We read the copy that they send us, guys.
That's it.
So I don't know.
They tell us to read this. Hey, read this on air. We're like, yeah, we'll do it.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Keeps the lights on. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean,
So okay.
Roundhouse kick Wrath.
So
that's bad.
kind of similar to what we've been talking about you guys kind of earlier than we did, understanding your personality types and even understanding because of your parents, it sounds like they protected you from a lot of the things, that older generation PKs had to deal with that you guys were kind of protected from. I want to know how, as PKs, you guys stay mentally and emotionally healthy. Like, are those even thoughts in your mind? Because when I was a kid, mental and emotional health wasn't really a thing.
No.
Again, until I was an adult. But
Well,
I'm
see,
guessing.
that's interesting because for us, mom's back to our mother being the teacher thing, which you guys also benefited from. One of our mom's special areas of interest is emotional. What is it called, Claire?
Social emotional
learning.
Learning, yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of her areas of specialty. So it wasn't a thing the way it is now for sure, but there was definitely elements of that in our household and in her practice, in her work and stuff like that. And of course, most of our time was with mom because of the way ministry was set up, especially back in the day. Dad was like the only pastor in the church, would have like 3,000 members, so he just wasn't around a lot.
He
and
had
stuff
to
like
do
that.
everything.
3,000.
So, yeah. So
He was the only pastor.
it was mostly mom, right? So we go to school with mom. We're at school all day. We come home, mom's and dad's at prayer meeting, whatever it is. So there was some of that. But anyway, I was just wanted to throw that in. But Claire's her point is right. Social emotional health definitely wasn't a sort of like a societal emphasis the way that it is now.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have mental health days. That wasn't a thing.
No. At all.
Yeah,
so how do you guys
yeah.
So the question is, how do you guys stay emotionally and mentally healthy? What do you do?
I'll say
that's an assumption. Do you stay emotionally and mentally healthy?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I'm very mentally healthy.
So how do you stay emotionally healthy then? So hold on.
Either.
So the question isn't, are you mentally and emotionally healthy? That's not the question. The question is, are there things in your life that you either do or don't do that impact your mental and emotional health, either in a good way or a bad way? Like, are you even what's your awareness of emotional and mental health, and how do you deal with it in your life?
That's a better
question. So for me, I try to do it with my hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
So I love like playing chess. I love going to the gym. I love photography and videography. So I try to do things like that. I love listening to music. I try to do things like that, things I like. And that kind of lifts my spirits. Especially going to college, I felt like I've never had to really do things to work on myself mentally. I've always just been a happy kid. I've always just been loving everything, being happy all the time. And when I got to college, I found myself really sad, missing home, since I'm so close to my family. And I noticed that when I didn't do certain things daily, I would be sad. So I noticed sometimes if I didn't open my Bible app and look at the verse of the day, I would actually genuinely be sad for the rest of the day.
Wow.
And so I try to make sure that I open that every day, because there's always some message that it feels like God's giving me that's there to lift me up, to keep me going throughout the day. So I try to do that at least every day. I try to at least go to the gym every day, play some chess every day, something that I love doing, listen to music every day, whatever it is, to make sure that I'm still happy, I'm still confident about myself, I'm still lifting myself up. So that's how I deal with it.
Yeah, that's kind of me too, except I'm not good at relaxing. When I relax, I feel really guilty for not doing anything. So my hobbies are very like worky. I not that they're worky, but like like one of them being like writing. I'm writing a book right now just for fun. And if I don't write it like if I want to like relax, I'll just write a couple paragraphs or like a page a day. And then I feel like I did something. Like yesterday I was feeling really, really sad because I got a vaccine and it took me out. I was like sick. And I felt really bad because I didn't do anything all day. So I felt like I wasted the day and I was really guilty about it. So I just have to do things that like make me feel like I did something today like that, or I'll edit a video, record something. I don't know. Like I have to have like a schedule. I don't know. Those things just make me not down in the dumps. And also I don't do the verse of the day anymore, but I do. They're like these things on Pinterest that'll be like a 30-day, like one verse each day thing. And I'll like find the verse in my Bible and I'll like read it and think about what it means. And I'll like write down about it in my journal and stuff like that. It's relaxing, but it also makes me feel like I did something. So I'm not sad for the rest of the day.
And I was going to say that too, when she said the writing the book thing, I feel that anything creative really boosts my mood. So I remember I would have just creative outbursts in college. If there was something really bad that happened, I was really down, I would just, the whole day, it would just be creative. Like I would just start writing like lyrics to a song or something. And then I would go and shoot something. And then I would go do something else. And I would just be doing creative stuff, just like an outburst of it. So that stuff, those type of activities just really help my mood so much.
So you're both finding then that your physical movement and behavior is very much connected to your sort of mental and emotional state. So you don't like sitting still for too long or just kind of not doing things in order to sort of stay up. You got to be doing something.
Exactly.
Yeah, because like it doesn't even have to be something that's like work. Like I just, if I don't do anything in a day, I just feel bad. Like even if I make progress in a video game, I'm like, yes, like I used today wisely. But like if I, yeah, like the other day I was playing Hogwarts Legacy for like 6 hours straight. And I was like, yes, this was a good day. I did a lot of work. But like yesterday I didn't do anything, but like I was just in my bed watching The Bear because I was so sick. And I just felt so bad. I felt like I didn't do anything. So like
The Bear is also very
it's good.
It's stressful.
Yes, it is.
The Bear is stressful.
It's stressful.
The Bear.
So I mean it's amazing. It's an amazing show, but I mean like Brian can't watch it. It's like
he can't.
No.
Oh wow.
Because it's too watched either.
He has like he's like I got PTSD just thinking about the premise of the show. He's like
wow, because he worked in
that's his career. That's his career.
Yeah.
He's food service. So
he still does it, right?
But, yeah. So not right this second, but
not right now. Yeah.
But
he does when I'm around.
I know, right?
Yeah, right.
You know, and I worked in food service for like 8 months or something, 9 months, something like that. So I, you know, I've been involved in that world, and this was 25 years ago, but I've been involved in that world. So I'm watching the show and I see I'm remembering stuff, whatever. But my experience with it isn't anything like his. So I'm like, I'm not triggered by it. I'm just like remembering, like, oh wow, yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Or this one time, whatever, blah blah blah. He's just like having flashbacks. He's like, yo.
Wow.
It's like you know, and it's such a tense situation, and then people go crazy in kitchens and stuff, and people fighting. I mean, it's crazy.
Couldn't be me,
like, bro.
Could not be me.
I was about to say, no way.
Yeah.
So you guys you've touched a little bit on your hobbies and things. So I kind of think that leads well into the next question, which is, well, John, what are you studying in college, and Julia, what do you want to study? Like, what do you guys want to do? What are you pursuing in terms of career and professional life?
So I'm studying business marketing. And I'm honestly not completely sure exactly where I want to go in a career, but I wanted to choose a major that just is aligned with all my hobbies, what I'm interested in, the type of person I am. I'm creative, but I'm also very analytical and strategic. And so far I love marketing. I took one marketing class, and I'm about to take
Here we go.
Hello, everybody.
Go ahead.
You said the writing the book thing.
Mhm.
That stuff, those type of activities just really help my is aligned with all my hobbies, what I'm interested in, the type of person I am. I'm creative, but I'm also very analytical and strategic. And so far I love marketing. I took one marketing class, and I'm about to take a lot more this semester. So we'll see if I really like it this semester. But off that one marketing class, it was Principles of Marketing. I absolutely loved it. So I think this is something I really like doing. And in business, it's a field where you can kind of be flexible and choose a lot of different jobs and careers.
Everybody needs marketing, so
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can essentially
So,
work anywhere.
exactly.
Right.
So I wanted
Mhm.
something valuable, something that's, possibly a stable way of making money and sustaining myself when I get out of college. And then what I really would want to do is just do photography and videography for a living. That would be amazing. So I'm trying to really focus on making my hobby into a real business and start making real money off of it. So that's what I want to do, and my major and stuff like that.
Do you have
Uh,
anything on socials that we can share with the people?
I do. I'll plug after. I'll let Julia go.
Okay, go
What
ahead,
you-
Not
Julia.
plug after. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I want to do cinematography or film, something in that area. I'm not sure
Mhm.
what yet. We'll see. And my backup plan is graphic design, so that's what I'm actually going to study in college for a bit, and then try to go to film school. Let's see if that happens. Yeah, I don't know. I really like cinematography. That's why I watched The Bear, because oh my gosh, the cinematography in
Yeah.
that show is
It's
absolutely
incredible.
gorgeous. And just everything about that show is really good. And so I like watching new movies and shows, trying to see like why they use certain shots. Literally while we're watching movies, I'll just yell out "Canted shot" or like yell establishing. Like
Mhm.
How did you feel about the cinematography in the first Dune movie?
I watched the first Dune before I took film classes. I took a class at my high school last year. It
That's a
was
good
really,
movie. That's a
really fun
great
class.
movie.
Yeah, when I
fantastic.
first
That's a
saw
great movie.
Dune, I was
Oh my
like,
goodness,
Yeah.
and that was before I even
that
knew
production's
any of
amazing.
the rules, before I knew all the shots, and like, oh my gosh, that movie is so good.
Mhm.
I thought it
love
was
that movie.
amazing, and I thought the second one was really good too. So yeah,
That came to my mind because when you think of the desert, at least me, when I think of
Mhm.
desert scenes, I don't think, oh, that's beautiful. But like I was like, yo,
Every scene.
Right.
I want to
Right.
go where
really
that is.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Exactly. That
I
movie's
want to go
so
through there.
pretty for no reason.
Yeah.
Like,
The lighting is perfect.
yes,
It's
the
Yeah, it
just,
lighting is
oh
so
my goodness,
good.
impeccable.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I want to do, or be an author, whichever one comes first. We'll see.
I mean, or all the things. I mean, I feel like you guys live in a
Right.
world where you can do all the things. I mean,
Exactly.
and we do too. We just didn't know it.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
But you guys are like aware that you could do all the things, like literally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I'm glad you guys are getting to experience is this. You're just free. You know what I mean? And we didn't really know it at the time, but we weren't free like that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like we weren't free to. We were. Let me say it differently. We were free from our parents' perspective to do whatever we want. Like they never put pressure on us to do anything. Right. So it wasn't like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, stay away from them. It wasn't any of that. But we just didn't know we had the options that we had. Like I didn't know when I was your age, Julia, I didn't know film school was a thing. No, that
Mhm.
sounds idiotic,
Wow.
but it just never crossed my mind.
Mhm.
I mean, if I had thought about it, I would have known, oh, people probably go study this, you know what I'm saying? But it just never crossed my mind that would be a career pursuit. And, and here I am in my 40s actually doing that work. And it's like, if I had known when I was 17 that this was something I could try, then I would probably have done some things differently. Not that I regret my career, but I'm just saying just the fact that you're planning to go to film school is fantastic to me. I love that. That's
I'm
amazing.
wondering where, April's very creative. and John's creative too. I think creative differently. But when I was their age, I did a lot of like back then I was doing like HTMLs. You guys even know what HTML anyway.
I know
I was
what
like building
HTML is.
websites and stuff like that. I was doing video editing too at that like and I really, really enjoyed it. And I have a degree in commercial art because I kept taking photography classes at Oakwood and it wound up
Yeah, I
giving me
Really?
remember you
something.
saying that.
Yeah. But I it also
But
never
you got
occurred to me.
you
It
got an accidental
literally
degree.
yeah, it was accidental. Anyway, the point is
Yeah.
it literally never occurred to me to pursue any of that in terms of career at all.
Right.
And I'm wondering now if that had been an option in my mind, what I would, and again, I don't regret my career either, but I would just wonder if that had been an option in my mind, what might have happened. I may have changed my major. Like I may have swapped my major. I was an English major and a commercial art minor. I may have swapped that. Maybe I would have been a commercial art major and an English minor instead. Like I really don't know, but I just think it's interesting that this videography thing it's from both sides of your family, basically.
Right.
I don't know
Right,
where we
yeah.
get it from, but I feel
Well,
like you
Dad-
get it from
well,
John
Dad,
too.
Dad was always obsessed with movies
Yeah, he was.
He is
Yeah,
obsessed with
always,
movies,
yeah.
And music
that was-
too, actually.
and music. And so I know for sure. So for me, my thing is my main thing I think is I'm a writer. I think writing is the way I interact with the world. It's the way I've entered into all of the spaces I'm in professionally now, and there's a bunch of them. It's from the perspective of a writer, and then even more specific than that, it's from the perspective of a storyteller. So my interest in storytelling, I think definitely I can trace that back to Dad. Always interested in film, always reading books. Music
that's
is very narrative in a lot of times, and then in sermons also. Stories were always all over the place in the sermons, and I remember thinking as a kid, I like listening to Dad preach because he's just telling a bunch of stories. So like for me, that's definitely my entry point into all these things. But again, like Claire's saying, I never thought to harness that professionally until I was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I never thought to study that when I was deciding what to study. I kind of felt like I had, and again, nobody ever told me this. This is kind of something that was, maybe they did tell me in a way, but it wasn't from the house. It wasn't like mom and dad telling me this. I kind of maybe the church or the next level of society. You kind of had 3 or 4 options, right? You were going to be a pastor, you were going to be a teacher, you're going to be a medicine, and that might have been it. And medicine had a few different permutations, right? Doctor, nurse, PT, whatever, right? But pastor, teacher, doctor. I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, people will be like, but you guys have seen this. Church members will be like, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? A pastor? And
Right,
like, why are you feeding me answers? Like, what?
And you know, I want to go back to what you said. I'm gonna segue into what you just said about that. But it was the same thing for me. I used to love just listening to sermons because of that storytelling. And right now, since I'm doing videography, I'm trying to get better at what is happening?
I
don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything. She was laughing.
But don't mute yourself. If you're gonna do all that, just keep it on. Just keep your mic on.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna do all what? Wipe my nose?
That was a lot more than wipe your nose.
Yeah. I don't know what was
I'm dead.
Anyway,
My bad.
anyway, y'all are good. Anyway, I was just saying the type of videos I make, I'm really trying to focus on that storytelling. And it's just interesting that you said that because I don't know where that came from, but it came from listening to those sermons, listening to good writing, watching good movies, like listening to good music because music does storytelling as well.
Absolutely.
So that's crazy. And then I think because I loved sermons so much, I actually wanted to be a pastor as a kid. I wanted to do exactly what my dad wanted.
I'm gonna be a pastor and a drummer.
We have many videos of you actually preaching into hangers and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
When you couldn't even talk yet.
Right. But anyway, I think because I just like sermons. I like the good writing and stuff. I think people automatically say, "Oh, you're going to be a pastor," just because you like that. So I've always been. Even now, people are like, "Oh, are you going to be a pastor?" When they ask what you're studying, I say marketing. They're like, "Oh, I thought you were going to be a pastor." Like, wow.
Dude.
So I wonder if you have another, because so you guys are second generation PKs on both sides, right? So both of your parents are PKs,
Mm.
and then you guys are PKs too. So you're second generation PKs, right? So for you, John, in particular, you're the oldest, you're male, you got your dad's name, you have you've had the interest as a kid, and you go to Oakwood. So all these things are, it's almost like, to someone who doesn't know you already, they meet you and they'd be like, "Oh, you're John Nixon's son. Where are you go to school?" "I'm at Oakwood." "Oh, obviously you're studying theology, right?" I mean, that would be like, I can see that assumption.
Right.
So I'm wondering if there's I'm wondering if there's any pressure that you feel to. Do you ever find yourself just considering, maybe I should do the ministry because of all these external factors, or just kind of pressure to study something versus something else, anything like that?
At first, I definitely felt like that, and now I don't. I don't now because Dad has always, and Mom, they've always said you can do whatever you want, and that your gift, like, you don't have. I don't know. I have a different outlook on just career choices. I don't think God automatically predetermines, hey, you're going to do this and choose the avenue for you. I think you personally can choose whatever you want to do. But as long as you're letting God lead you, as long as you're making sure, hey, I'm doing this for him in some type of way. So I want my videos to teach a lesson to people. I'm trying to start doing short films and basically making videos that are teaching lessons, that are helping people, that are helping to motivate people. If I'm doing things like that, personally, I feel I just want to be used by God. I feel he's already using me in this way. So I feel fulfilled I would feel fulfilled in doing this for a living just off that alone. But that's my personal outlook on it. I don't know if that's wrong or skewed, but I mean, it's with everything. If you, like my dad, I think he was meant to be a pastor. I think that's just who he is. That's his personality. He was called to it.
Yeah.
But he loves it.
Right.
So, if I felt that calling, I know I would love it. But now I don't feel that calling. I feel called to this. I love what I'm doing now. I feel I have a purpose in life. So now I don't feel that pressure. But beforehand, when I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, I just didn't have any interest or anything. I definitely felt, should I really be a pastor? And I tried doing it. Like, I remember at my school, I would preach for chapel and stuff. I hated it. I really hated it. And
I'm glad you had that experience then.
Yeah.
It's important to know what you hate and what you love. Like, they're both equally important.
Exactly. I know I didn't like it at all though.
Yeah.
But that's so true. I'm definitely open to whatever though. I'm open to just seeing what I end up becoming, whatever that is. But I believe I have an own choice of what I become because God gives us free will. As long as I'm making sure that I'm following what he wants me to do at the same time.
I also feel like more as kids, I think there was a wide assumption that there's only a few things that God calls people to.
Exactly.
Oh, there's only a few things where you can actually be used by God. Like, if you're a pastor, obviously you're used by God, but you can't be used by God as a movie director. Like, why would you go into that? There's Hollywood is hell and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, this is based on what you're saying right now. Logically, it doesn't make any sense for God to be as creative as he is, but then for him to box himself into, okay, well, these are the only two careers where I'll be able to use people. That doesn't make any sense.
You worded it perfectly. You literally worded it perfectly. That's
it literally doesn't matter what you're doing. You can be called to that by God, and you can be following his instruction, even if it's not in the ministry. Of course, you can be used by God because there's people everywhere. And the whole point of the gospel is to bring people the good news. So if there's a person in a field and you're also there, you can be an influence.
And actually, how I see it as well, if you went into a field, like if you went into Hollywood and started making movies, you can probably reach way more people than you could if
Mhm.
you were being a pastor,
Mhm.
because
a bigger
you're
stage.
reaching the world. You're literally in the world. So
Mhm.
I'm not scared of being in the world. I want to be in the world, and I want my character to be a light to other people. So
Mhm.
hopefully that works.
Looking at
Yeah, look at the time.
Wow, that's crazy.
We're out of time.
Yeah.
So I actually want to do two things really quickly. And we're gonna go. First of all, I want to ask Julia if you could answer this quickly as that's possible, because you talked about a few different things that you want to do. You're not sure. Let's just say you got to do what you wanted to do. You're gonna do what you want, because it sounds
and
like you're
how
hedging.
you want to.
It sounds like you're hedging your bets a little bit. You're like, because you said you want to study your backup plan. I'm like, why not just study your first plan? Why are you studying your second plan? So if you could do what you wanted to do, what would that look like?
Well, I'm doing the backup first because I want to go to Andrews, and Andrews doesn't have film as a major. They have graphic design. So I was like, might as well study my backup while I'm there, and then I'm leaving and going somewhere else. That's the only reason.
You trying to do like a short time at Andrews and then transfer?
Yeah, I only want to be there for 2 semesters.
You don't have to declare a major at all. You can just study gen eds and then go.
I know, but
transfer.
I want to do. I have a lot of my prerequisite classes because I'm taking college classes right now. So I'll probably get to start on my major immediately. And I want to do fun things. I don't want to just do like I toured the graphic design building and the art and design building. It looks so good and it looks so fun. So I want to do fun things immediately.
I think
That's
there's
my
some
only
principles of graphic design, of course, that will be useful in your pursuit of film too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it could be a good minor, perhaps.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, I already like graphic design a lot. I was obsessed with it like 3 years ago. That was like going to be my job.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I already know I love it. So, yeah.
Okay.
It's not anything like just in case I fail or anything.
Which is not
All right,
gonna
good. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you guys a random trivia question, and then we're gonna go.
Okay. Yeah, I hope I don't fail.
Are you ready?
You're definitely
Yeah.
right.
So last
Wait, you
last
said I'm
time,
definitely gonna fail.
so last time we saw each other was a couple weeks ago at Mom's birthday party. We were talking about Star Wars and Star Trek. First of all, you guys are getting into those now, and I don't remember which is which. Yeah, well, you're into it, but
They did.
Yeah,
I remember.
right.
Well, I remember you guys were saying, and I don't remember which one of you said which thing, but you guys were saying one of you is into Star Trek and the other one isn't. Is that right?
I'm
Yeah, she's Star Trek. I'm
He's Star Wars. I'm into Star Wars, but he's not into Star Trek like at all.
No, I'm into
Right.
Star Trek.
Oh,
I just
I'm
don't.
sorry, just not as much as me.
Yeah, like
I
It's
got
always
you.
just
Okay.
me and Dad watching it.
yeah.
So Julia, you're into both Star Wars and Star Trek. John, you're into more Star Wars, a little Star Trek.
Yeah, a little Star Trek.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That wasn't the random trivia, obviously.
Oh,
The random trivia though is from Star Wars. Star Wars
Okay.
trivia, random.
Jedi breathing
Okay,
devices.
say it again.
No,
I said
ask the
Jedi
question,
breathing
ask the question.
devices. No,
That's the answer.
Yeah.
So here's the question: in the original trilogy being episodes 4, 5, and 6,
Mhm.
in the original trilogy, how many people die? About
How many people die?
how many deaths are there in the original trilogy?
Obi-Wan.
So over 3 films.
3 films.
Obi-Wan and
Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan,
Yoda.
Yoda.
Vader.
Not just main character deaths. Total
I know,
deaths.
we're counting. We're counting.
Total? I don't know. Total.
We're counting. Obi-Wan, Yoda,
Darth
Vader, Sidious.
Sidious.
Technically.
No, he didn't die.
Too loud.
All them stormtroopers on the. Wait, it's gotta be at least 10 million because they blew up Alderaan.
Mm.
And they
True, I
blew up
didn't
the
think
Death
about it.
Star.
They
It's
blew up
gotta
the
be
De- yeah, they
like
blew up the Death
11
Star.
or 12 million.
They blew up the Death Star
They
and
blew up
Alderaan.
Alderaan.
Your
They blew up the
logic
Death
is
Star
great.
again.
Yeah, they blew it
Your logic is
They blew
your
it
logic is
again.
working.
Your
Mhm.
logic
then-
is
I feel like
great,
they
but
blew
you're
up
All
still
the
Didn't they
time,
blow up
way
all
another
the time,
planet too?
not TIE fighters, all the X-Wings that got blown up.
Exactly.
Which was everyone, wasn't it everyone except Luke and Han? Everybody died. Everyone died except Luke and the Millennium Falcon. Everyone else died.
That did happen.
So what's your guess?
I'm gonna say 15 million.
15
I
million.
know a
Yes,
whole
John.
planet. If our planet is how many people are on our planet? Like what?
Wait,
billions?
Really?
How many people do we have? 9 billion?
Like 9
How many
billion?
people are
No,
on
no,
Like
planet Earth?
it's like
Okay.
8 billion or something.
Is it 8?
I'm
Yeah.
changing
I'm
mine.
I'm
10
going
billion.
like I'm going
10
like
billion.
10 billion.
10
No,
billion.
no, actually 12 billion.
I'm going
12
10.
billion. 12 billion.
10 billion.
I
10
just
to
want to
12 billion.
say, that I really love that you answered that out loud because your logic was great.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that I used to try and teach my classes, like talk to me while you're thinking so
Mm-hmm.
that I can see how your brain is working. Your brain's worked exactly the way that we wanted it to work just now.
It's like showing your work in math. Like we want to know how you
Yes.
got there. Yeah.
Yes.
So did we get it
Okay,
right?
good.
What's
You're
the
close,
number?
but no.
10 billion.
That's a 12.
10 billion. So you were way
These
too
are
low.
really good
15
guesses.
15 million isn't close. But the way you were thinking made sense, and then you were like, "Oh wait, whole world. Let's go the
Mhm.
other end of that. 10 billion is also not close. 15
12
billion.
Wait. Let us guess. Keep
Hold on.
guessing.
12 isn't
No.
close?
30 billion.
I'm gonna say that 12 billion is closer than 12 million.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I was
You know
about
what
to
I'm
say. I was like, there's
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I don't mean
It's not close?
numerically. I don't mean
Right,
numerically.
right.
I just mean in the way
Mind-
that they're
Oh,
thinking. It's
Yeah,
closer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, huh?
So the answer is approximately 2 billion.
That's
Oh,
it?
that's it.
But
Oh, okay. wait.
You said that's it.
Wait, okay, but that
your
makes
thinking
sense.
is good.
Hold on. That makes
Dang,
sense.
Hitler.
Oh, I'm
Wait.
sorry, I'm
That makes sense though, because those movies were made in what the 70s, and there were way less
Uh-huh.
people. There weren't 9 billion
Right.
people in the 70s, so that makes sense.
So in 1970 there were 3.69 billion people on Earth.
that
That's
makes
it?
sense then.
So we have smaller, and then also
We've tripled
the
in
assumption
size.
is Earth is much more populated than these outer rim planets that they're
Right. That
destroying,
is true.
right? So think about it that way. But the way you're thinking about it made a lot of sense, and I'm glad, like Claire said, I'm glad we got to watch you think.
yeah,
'Cause,
and I also hope that people who are watching this in the future see that thinking, like, you need to hire them, because people who can think that way just get better at thinking that way.
Mhm.
Please hire
And the
me.
fact that you're considering context, this is like an English major's dream. You're
Yeah.
considering context, you're considering population, like your brain's touched on so many fields to get to your answer. And so that was good. That was good, Doc. So yeah, give
stuff.
John and Julia some money to do the things that they
Please
love
give me
doing.
money.
Y'all wanna hire? My page is J Nix Visuals. Please.
Oh,
hire
yeah.
me. Please hire. me.
I don't have a page,
Please.
but just hire me.
.com. Wait, that's not a .com?
It's just J Nix _visuals.
It's on Instagram.
It's on Instagram.
Oh, this is
YouTube,
Instagram.
TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, on all the socials.
everything.
That's what's up. All right, great. So all right, we're gonna wrap. So if you guys can hang out for just a minute, that'd be great. We're gonna show another quick commercial.
right?
We'll come back and do
Yeah, that's
a
right.
wrap up.
Yeah, check them out. And Julia's stuff's coming.
Yes, they're coming.
Indeed.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
I didn't say that.
Yeah,
wait.
it is.
What stuff?
You know, the things.
Uh,
You already have credits. You've been in plays. You just said for fun you do edit videos. We have something for you actually that we want you to edit that we should have given you, I don't know, 2 years ago.
I think we
be
gave it to her.
honest. We did?
Yeah.
I don't think we did. Anyway,
I don't have anything.
yeah. Thanks so much for being on, guys.
Thank you.
We
That was very
appreciate it. And viewers, stick with us just a second. We're going to take one more commercial break, and then Paul and I will be right back.
All right. Well, that was fun.
That was a great conversation.
Yeah, we need more young people.
I was gonna say we might need to have them back specifically, but also, yeah, we need more young people because there's a few questions we didn't even get to that I really do
Yeah.
want to talk to them about.
Yeah.
So we might need to have them as repeat guests.
Maybe we should have them. Maybe we should have them separately. John on by himself and then Julie on by herself.
or whatever. We'll see what happens. They're giving us the thumbs up.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, lots of thumbs up in backstage here. All right, great. So, thanks for sticking with us, viewers. We're actually going to be coming to you at a new time.
We'll let you know when that is.
Don't know what it is
decided.
yet. So
Yeah, our
careers
dictate when we're available, and because it's a new semester, our availability is different. So, but
Right.
we'll let y'all know when we know.
Yeah, we'll let you know. Keep stay tuned and like, subscribe, share, guys.
Yes,
subscribe to our
please.
YouTube page. We do updates on our YouTube page. These commercials from our sponsors, we feature them on our YouTube page as well. As you know, standalone commercials, just so you can go patronize our people. The one we have up there right now is the very first one, our very first sponsor, which was the Truth Shall Set You Free. The Truth Shall Set You Duty Free Shop. It was our first sponsor. Really grateful to them. We'll have another. As a matter of fact, we have another commercial dropping today. It's not today when you're seeing this. It's today when I'm recording it. It'll be dropping in like 2 hours. So by the time this
then
comes
when you're
out,
viewing this, we'll have 2 commercials.
We'll have actually 4 because there's one today. There's one
Some
Friday. And there's another
commercials will
one
be
Monday.
on our page.
More
when you see
commercials on
this.
YouTube page. YouTube.
Please visit us at cpnix.com. Buy your copy of God is a Person Today. It's a really great read. And we'll see.
We
you
do
guys next time.
presentations too if you're interested in the content, and we
view our
train
website.
young people, and we do all kinds of critical thinking stuff with the Bible. It's really, really interesting. Sort of just trying to set people free. The Bible's supposed to be setting people free out here.
Mhm.
We want people to be free in Christ. So that's what
Mhm.
we're after. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.